Ken, do you have a rebuttal?
No, I do not.
The next question pertains to taxes, and the first response, Lee, will go to you. Do you think the current system of taxation in Pennsylvania is fair, and what changes, if any, would you recommend?
To be quite blunt, no, I don't think the current taxation is really fair at all. I think what we've done is we've taken and we've put too much on property owners, hitting over 10,000 doors in the district in this last 3 months. I know that it's not just seniors, it's everybody. They can't afford any more taxation, and they're looking for solutions. I think we need to go from a property-based taxation to a sales taxation. I also think that we need to restructure the corporate tax rate from 9.9% down to a fluctuating rate that's tied to unemployment. I think the greatest gift we could give ourselves would be to have corporations invest in themselves to create jobs and lower their own tax rates. Everybody talks about the Delaware loophole, and the truth of the matter is the legislature had opportunities to do something about that for a very long time. But once again, we have a failed legislature that wants to talk about Democrats, Republicans, and utter silliness when the truth of the matter is the tax base is suffering, and we need new solutions to old problems.
Ken, the question to you.
Well, I think with respect to taxation, if you look at the state sales tax, it's comparable to the states around us. If you look at the PIT, the personal income tax, it's comparable to the states around us. But the egregious tax is the corporate net income tax, which is at 9.99%. Very business unfriendly. And how do we do that? We do that by closing the Delaware loophole, as Lee just said. We have to close that. Unfortunately, when we went to budget last year, the Senate Republicans and the House Republicans said this: the Delaware loophole is not a point of negotiation. We will not negotiate it. It's not on the table. If you bring it up, we walk away. Listen, if we're going to generate revenue, we have to be business friendly. That is the first step in the right direction. I'll also tell you, in a bipartisan way, Sam Rohr, a Republican House member, had a bill 1275, to which I co-sponsored with him, which is a complex bill that would do away with property tax. Complete elimination, although very difficult, very complex, would have to renew or expand the sales tax throughout Pennsylvania. I stepped up to the plate and I co-sponsored it in a bipartisan way.
Lee, any rebuttal?
I'd just like to say that we're going back to the same thing about Republicans and Democrats, and the truth of the matter is that House Bill 1275 is much too complex. It should have been a much simpler bill, and it's the beauty of democracy is having a bill that the people that you represent can understand. But we've elected people that I just think are totally out of touch.
Thank you. The next question, I want to focus on the budget process itself. And I think everybody who's listening knows how problematic that has been in the Commonwealth in the last few years. The question is, what steps will you take to advocate and implement a timely, efficient, and effective budget process that doesn't rely on balancing the bottom line with stopgap, one-time policy decisions? And I also want you to specifically answer, do you support legislation requiring that legislators not be paid if a budget isn't passed? And Ken, that question goes to you first.
Well, let me say right up front, no budget, no pay. Yes, I do support that. Now, in early February, the governor comes to he holds what it's called a joint session. The Senate comes to the House, and we sit down, and he gives his proposal of the upcoming year budget. It's at that time that I think leadership in all four caucuses should be required every 2 weeks to sit down and to meet and report in open records what they have accomplished, so that it's not crunch time, it's not coming down to the last 2 or 3 weeks, it's not putting pressure on the different senators and representatives. It's done in a very methodical way, so that come the end of June, June 30th, that budget is complete, it's well thought out, and we stay away and we prevent the one-time fix. And of course, to get away from the one-time fix, what do? Economic growth. That's what we need, economic growth.
Lee, the question to you.
Okay. Well, I think the problem in Harrisburg with the budgets is extremely simple. There's just a mountain of debt. All the quick fixes have been taken. There's been a lack of leadership in Harrisburg, and then you're going to ask how you're going to fix it. Well, it's going to be a real hard and tough thing to do. You know, do I think legislators should be paid if there's not a budget? Well, you know, I think possibly they shouldn't be paid until there's a budget, but the truth of the matter is we have to do something with all the debt we have. And the solutions aren't easy. So there is no way to really change the process because there's no way to get rid of the debt. And I just think that we have to be realistic. We've elected people that haven't done their job for a long time, and we have to make some really tough choices here. And once again, the only solution to this problem is taking the budget apart, line item by line item, finding out where the money's going, cutting out special interest in the people who make political contributions to candidates that get elected, state representative, or any other office in the Commonwealth, and start representing people that just can't pay any more money because of what our legislators have done to us. They just have no respect for us and no respect for the process.
Ken, any rebuttal on that?
The only rebuttal is that I respect people, and I fight hard in Harrisburg. I fight hard in Harrisburg and here at home in the 112th District for all the people.
We're going to move on now to the environment, and I want to speak specifically about Marcellus Shale. But on this question, I want you to focus on the environmental impact and not on a severance tax. The next question will address the severance tax. So the question is, given the opportunities and dangers inherent in natural gas drilling from Marcellus Shale, how will you go about making decisions that will provide maximum protection to the environment and public health while capitalizing on the economic potential of this natural resource? And the first question goes to you, Lee.
Well, as far as the drilling for gas, I think that the drillers themselves should pay for the inspectors. The inspectors should be employed by the Commonwealth. Okay, but their salary should be paid by the drillers of the natural gas. I think we should also have inspectors who make sure that all the infrastructure for the gas drilling is safe. I also believe that we need to realize that this is a chance for the Commonwealth to raise money that we really seriously need. But I just think that we shouldn't do it in a hazardous way. I think the gas is never going to go anywhere, and we need to protect our environment. And you know, I just think it's very important to do it right. So I'd have the drillers pay all the cost for the inspectors and make sure it's done right. And that's about all I have.